What's up, Commanders fans? So we got some bad news today, man. Everybody thinking my boy Luke is gone. He ain't leaving. Everybody trying to get rid of my boy Luke McCaffrey. A lot of people saying that Jalen Lane is coming in and he's already about to take everything Luke McCaffrey has. He's coming to kick the door in, and maybe by the end of this offseason, he might be kicking the door down. Are you catching my drift? They saying Luke McCaffrey is on his way out. And I don't believe it. Even though Luke McCaffrey put up amazing numbers last year, had 168 yards, had 18 out of 24 receptions. He was doing his thing. Had 299 yards on kick return for 10 attempts. I don't think y'all hearing me, man. You hear these amazing numbers? I'm not surprised, honestly. Because last season, Jaden Daniels was able to get the best out of the worst. He was able to get De'Ami Brown to sound like a household name, right? In the community of Washington and the whole DMV area. We knew who De'Ami was this past year. But we didn't know too much about Luke McCaffrey. Besides that, he was Luke McCaffrey's brother of Christian McCaffrey. I know I said that backwards, but bear with me. And it's time that we find out who Luke McCaffrey actually is. And let's give him some grace, right? Because in college, he played for Nebraska. And after he played for Nebraska, he played for Rice. So in his time playing for Rice, he was a quarterback. And he played in college for 5 years. And in that time, he only played wide receiver for 2 years. And that was his most recent years in college. And he played at wide receiver, right? So give him some grace. He doesn't have as much experience as most guys have. But in later years, you have guys who only play a few years in college and then they head to the NFL, right? So 2 years in some guys' instances, that's enough, right? And we shouldn't be making excuses for him, right? And you could say that, but I feel like all the experience that Luke McCaffrey has, he should be targeted more often, right? But for Jaden Daniels, the number one thing you want to do coming in is target guys you can trust. And who can you trust? Your veterans, your guys that have been in the league for multiple years. So I want to say that his lack of production has come from Jaden Daniels not believing in him as much. And Jaden Daniels, you can see, he believes in Terry McLaurin. He believes in Zach Ertz. He believes in Noah Brown. He even believes in Jamison Crowder, right? So these are guys that he believes in and that he had to put all of his trust in, right? So I wouldn't blame him because as a rookie, you don't want to make mistakes and you want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. And so how do you do that? You rely on the guys that can help you in those clutch moments. Did he rely on Luke McCaffrey in those clutch moments? No. And one of the games that really stood out for Luke McCaffrey was the Bengals game. This is when we first got to see him and first got to really see him put up numbers that we didn't know what he was going to do, right? But that's when we really got to see his breakout It wasn't a super breakout season for him or breakout game in that season for him, but it just showed us what Luke McCaffrey could do. He had 3 targets, and he caught all 3 of them things. And he had 44 yards, right? And I'm actually proud of him, in that game. But we needed more, right? And out of all the games that he played, he only started 4 games. So could that be because of Jaden Daniels not targeting him as much, or him not fitting into the offense, or him needing to learn the offense better, or just his foot placement or his route running is just not there all the way? But I can give you this. Throughout the entire season, Luke McCaffrey showed that he can find ways to get open. He can find the soft spots in the defense and take advantage of them, right? Because I don't want to discredit him because he wasn't getting as many targets as other guys on the field. And even when Noah Brown went down, he wasn't called upon. So, in my opinion, that makes me think that maybe he just wasn't as versed when it comes to the playbook. That's the only thing I can point to, because he has the height, he has decent speed, he runs a 4.4, he's 6'2", close to 200 pounds. Why wouldn't you count on him? And what other reasons would there be, right? And I'm just thinking, as a former quarterback, right, he would know what the quarterback is thinking, right? But maybe he's not up to par with a De'Ami Brown. And of course, a De'Ami Brown has been in the league for multiple years compared to Luke McCaffrey. So De'Ami Brown hasn't been called upon to be a starter as often as a Terry McLaurin or a Deebo Samuel or a Noah Brown, but he's played in the NFL and he's finally got his opportunity to shine. And you see what he did with his opportunity. He was average, and he showed up. But can Luke McCaffrey do the same? Is this going to be the season where he loses his punt return opportunities? I mean, his kick return opportunities. Because when he was called upon, he took advantage. He had almost 300 yards on kick return. And if you think about it, that was half of what Austin Ekeler did with his 19 opportunities. Austin Ekeler had almost 600 yards. So his 300 yards from Luke McCaffrey, it was half of that. So it was close. So it was like, if Austin Ekeler wasn't there, we could rely on Luke McCaffrey. So it was like, okay, perfect. This is great. This is what we need. Even though he didn't do anything longer than the 30-yard run, but he showed something more than what we were used to get with Dax Milne, right? And it wasn't as good as Antonio Gibson, but it was decent. It was better than Dax Milne. And do we feel like he's going to lose that kick return opportunity, that kick return job? It's a possibility, because Jalen Lane has played everywhere. And of course, Luke McCaffrey has too. But Jalen Lane has more speed, more shiftiness. I don't know what the word is for it, but he gives you more, right? So that's one reason why I feel like Luke McCaffrey may stay on the roster, because of kick return and his special team needs, and he gives that to us. So, but then at the same token, that could be one reason that he do lose a position in case one of the undrafted free agents shows up and shows out and does more than him in this offseason. So who knows what's going to happen, but Luke has to step it up. He's one of them guys that can lose this opportunity and lose his job and maybe on the practice squad or traded. So I don't know I mean, like at first, because of the mediocre roster we had going into last season, we looked at Luke McCaffrey and we already put him on a higher pedestal. People were even making excuses for this guy, right? Talking about, yeah, this, that, and third. And I'm just like, all right, we going to see. But who knows? Like I said, it could be because Jaden didn't trust him. And with the opportunities that he had, he took advantage. He didn't miss but six out of the 24 that was thrown his way. So it wasn't bad. It just wasn't phenomenal. And Luke has to show out because Jalen Lane already has a position. And the way I see it right now is Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Noah Brown. You also have Jalen Lane. And we still got Luke McCaffrey there. But who knows if KJ Osborne is going to show up and show out, or Michael Gallup is going to show up and show out, or any of the undrafted free agents. And so far, it's 2 of them that could possibly take his spot. I haven't heard much about them, but Luke has already got bodied by Trey Amos in the first few days of OTAs. I'm about to say OTAs. But, man, I mean, it's going to be a long off season for Luke. But who knows what he's going to do. I'm going to be on the lookout. I'm going to definitely give y'all the update on what's going on or if he's looking good or looking bad, man. But let me know how y'all feel about Luke McCaffrey. Do you feel like he's mediocre? Do you feel like we could do better than him next year? Do we feel like we should trade him? Is he a possible person to be traded? Or do you feel like we still have more untapped ability, seeing that he's only in his 3rd year at the wide receiver position? Or do you feel like that's enough? Do you feel like that's enough to classify him as a bust or send him off? Let me know what y'all think. And before I go, let me let y'all know this last thing. I'm out.